the same play, Chris Houston, who's a workhorse for this Vikings side, isn't allowed to play that ball at the speed he wants to. But the pass and the quality of the pass from Stefan Ratchford, and let's not forget, when he catches and collects that ball, shows all the composure he needs to place his foot behind the line, and that's the reason he's allowed to get the 7 tackles. Beautiful pass from the fullback.
Look at the work from Benjamin Julian, the player in the blue skull cap for Warrington. He gets Joe Mellor interested. When he goes in, he bites in, which creates the space on the outside. The centre, the winger jamming then, trying to close that play down, but the space was there for Lynham on the edge.
So Dec Patton kicked really well against Leeds last week. This is a tester from the touchline far side. And he too has missed with his first effort, but it's all locked up here at the Select Security Stadium. 4 apiece. Widnes seeking a first home win of the year, Warrington seeking a first away win of 2017.
Well, there have been times this year when Warrington's attack just hasn't really been at the Super League standard, but that's a brilliant pass there. The decision, isn't it, to see the number of defenders select the pass and execute it, and invite Tom Lynham to dive in that corner, put the scores 4-all level.
Time you run this side, fellas.
So Widnes' turn to restart. Reece Hanbury. Deep kick-off. And he did well, Kirk Gidley, to stay within the field of play. Looked like that might have sailed out on the full, actually, but Gidley wasn't taking the chance. And then almost put a foot on the dead ball line. Russell takes it forward again.
Eddie, games that you're under pressure, you can see Kirk Gidley knows exactly where that ball's going to land. You've got to front up in games that you're under pressure. And the way that Hill and Sims, Benjamin Julian, Hughes have started this game, they're just taking it to the heart of the Vikings.
Dwyer plays the ball again to Ratchford. Here is Chris Hill. And close him down quickly on this occasion. And Ratchford is waiting behind Hill at dummy half. They've reached the last. The Patton kick again from halfway goes high into the grey sky. Oh, that's well, says the referee, that's a knock-on.
It's a fair challenge.
It was a knock-on first time round, really, but was he tackled in the air?
No, both players can go for that ball. As soon as that ball goes in the air, Eddie, it's a contest. It comes off Kirk Gidley. Does it come off Kirk Gidley's hand?
I think he's the first knock-on, the Warrington player. I think the challenge in the air is fair from both of them. They're both going for the ball. But I think that's a knock-on by Warrington.
We can see when they both go up.
Heads in, boys. Wait.
Well, I think it comes off Kirk Gidley, but I think they're going to get head and feed here.
Yes, they are. Dec Patton has the ball in his hand.
Cheers.
So this is a glorious opportunity for Warrington to post more points. This is Ryan Atkins. Houston was standing right in front of him. This time didn't concede the penalty. 20 metres away from the line. Jack Hughes will take it forward for the Warrington Wolves. Gets to within 12. And down he goes on tackle number 2. So bags of tackles in the bank here for Warrington right now as Gidley takes it to the line, gets the pass away to Ashton Sims.
He did well to catch that then, Ashton Sims under pressure.
He was Matt Whitley. We're very quickly on in, and this now is Dwyer again. Brad Dwyer trying to squirm his way away from the tacklers. Plays the ball then to Hill. Back it comes to Patton. Short pass from him. Julien with the drive forward. The Frenchman. 5 French counts, plays the ball to Dwyer. There's Gidley, here's Ratchford. Little chip over the top, looking for Matty Russell, finds Matty Russell, and Russell just gifts the ball away. But tackled in the air, was it?
They had contact with him when he was in the air. Whether you could class it as a tackle in the air. He certainly had his arms round him while he was off the ground. The kicker deemed that to be a tackle in the air. You see that? Well, he jumped into him, didn't he? Didn't have a great deal he could do, but he did put his arms round him.
What is he meant to do, Stefan Marsh there?
Well,
I know what you're saying.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Such a judge it, but he's put his arms round it in intent to tackle.
Hold. So more pressure on this Widnes line from the Warrington Wolves, and Steph Marsh with a little shake of the head. Can't believe the decision that went against him, but got to get on with the job now, defending that line as Jack Hughes takes it in on the first. Dwyer then fires the pass to Gidley. Gidley goes wide and finds Patton, and Patton trying to weave his way to the line now. Needs it short, struggles to his feet. Dwyer, he came from an offside position. That's another penalty.
Well, they're not helping themselves out here. Gil Hudson.
They're on a warning now. Widnes now on a warning.
Eddie, and it's worthy giving the penalties away. It's close to their line.
The play the ball's taking place. I think that's a high call.
This is Chris Hill. You never get benefit of the doubt, though, unless there's a marker not present. And here is Jack Hughes. They're going to score. Jack Hughes gets on the back end of a welter of penalties going Warrington's way. It's 4 in a row. And after a fairly drastic start, Warrington have steadied the ship. And Jack Hughes makes it 8-4. Kick to come.
Well, when things are against you, you've got to make sure that you're squeaky clean. A couple of back-to-back penalties comes from the mistake here. Unfortunate not to go on the Vikings way. Coming off Kirk Gidley's right arm, and then the penalised Stephen Marsh thinks that he's hard done to on this occasion.
This Hill one's probably the most difficult one. The ball's in play. Is he not allowed to tackle him?
But that's the one word you've got to make sure that you're nerving the referee, you're talking to the referee. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. The ball goes to the right-hand side, and the way that Jack Hughes runs onto this ball, where Kirk Gidley goes at the line, he fixes a couple of defenders, and then all of a sudden, look at the Vikings defenders. They're not moving forward, they're sliding sideways. Very difficult to stop that man.
Here's Declan Patton to try and add the extras with his first successful kick of the night. This then for a 10-4 lead. And 10-4 it is. Let's get the definitive version from Stuart Cummings of that penalty on the line for Gil Hudson coming round the side and pinching the ball.
Well, he has to stay behind the line or on the goal line until the ball's played. Once that ball's played, he can move forward and he can attack the ball. Sometimes around the goal line, where a player only has to have his back foot on the line, if he's actually got his foot up level with the play the ball, he can't reach round into that play the ball area. But that didn't seem to be the case that time.
So Widnes may be a little hard done by, but Warrington will not be complaining. 10-4 they lead. The kick-off fielded by Gidley. Here comes Ashton Sims again. Let's take another look then at this Gil Hudson penalty.
He seems to get out very quick. Once that ball's played, I think he's onside when the ball's played. So, you know, he's entitled to do that.
So Hudson and Widnes not getting the rub of the green as far as we're concerned, but not as far as Phil Bentham and his touch judges are concerned. Here goes Ratchford. Warrington have certainly ratcheted up the pace since they went 4-0 down, and a quick play the ball. Here's Dwyer again. He escapes one net. He doesn't escape the second. He reached the 5th tackle, so last one coming up here. Patton with the kick surely. There it is, another high and hanging one. Well played though.
It's a good set 6, isn't it, for Warrington? Again, the outside backs, Ratchford, Lyon and Russell, doing very well from dummy after markers. Whenever those 3 players get in behind the play the ball, you've got to make sure you split forward. You know they're going to scoot, so therefore take the yards away from them.
Hanbury will take it forward now for Widnes. Almost gets to the halfway line on tackle number 4. Once again, nice little kick to the corner. Now, this will stay in the field of play, I think.
Brilliant kick, Eddie. Brilliant.
Oh, well, Ratchford is able to put his foot over the line and make sure that it's going to be head and feed at the scrum to Warrington.
That's right. They changed the law for the ball going dead in goal, but they didn't change it for the touchline. So Ratchford, very cleverly, knowing the laws of the game, puts his foot out to make that ball dead.
For the second time tonight, because he got a 7-tackle restart on the 20 not long ago, and he's just got head and feed to his side here.
He backs himself, doesn't he, Stephen Ratchford? He knows exactly what time he's got on the pitch, where he is on the pitch. So intelligent.
Lynham will take it forward for Warrington. We're at the start of a very busy Easter programme, and we will continue tomorrow at midday. We're at the DW Stadium for
10-15 metres. And they look strong, don't they, Warrington? They're getting off the line.
Yeah, it's amazing what a win does, and they got their first victory last week against the Rhinos.
Well, the line speed looks so good. Look, they're holding up the witness players as long as they can, then taking them to ground, then peeling off. The markers are working hard. Ashton Sims there pushing Reece Hambury out towards the touchline, but not switching off in the middle.
This will make a difference. Alex Gerrard was one of the best players I thought for Widnes last season. He's east back on the field as Matthew Russell goes to the changing rooms.
Just give 10.
Another high kick. That's been a feature of the match so far tonight. The high kicks from both sides to try and force the error from the full-backs and wingers. But Steph Ratchford was very confident under the high ball. Rhys Evans is on the field now for the Warrington Wolves. But Craven and Co in there with Runciman to halt him. But he still makes a few good metres forward. Oh, and there's a mistake, and a rare mistake at dummy half from Kurt Gidley.
Well, Rhys Evans, the man who's just come on to replace Matty Russell. You know, that was a brilliant kick from Danny Craven, but the markers didn't do a good enough job of taking the time away from Rhys Evans. When he scoots from dummy half, he makes so many metres because there's no pressure, but he does make a mistake, and he now puts his team under pressure.
And my apologies to Kurt Gidley. I said it was a rare mistake, and it wasn't a mistake. It was an incorrect play of the ball by Rhys Evans.
Heads in now.
Only just on the field. Kurt Gidley, though, is another very important member of this side.
Okay, lads, heads in now.
For Warrington's been on the score sheet with the try or goals in each of his last 5 appearances. But for Widnes, the opportunity here. Only 6 points down. They get head and feet at this scrum. They're 30 metres away from the Warrington line. Can they capitalise on it this time?
No.
Eddie, and even if they don't score in this set of 6, it's about building pressure on Warrington, playing the game down here.
Here's a penalty. Alderson was trying to make progress. Hilton was making sure he wasn't going to do that.
And that's the fight, that's the effort on effort you will get from players, whether they're defending or taking the ball straight and hard like Alderson did then.
First penalty of the match for Widnes. Can they make it pay? They might. It's a drive forward here by Chapelhow, but he's over the line, can't get the ball down. So held up over the line, they go back 10 metres.
He's been a shining light, Jay Chapelhow, this year for the Vikings.
Johnson waits at dummy half. Here they come then. What can they produce here? Goes through the hands, and again a mistake. Dennis Bett's frustration is evident. And they try score in the 4th minute, or the 2nd minute rather. Steph Marsh just can't take this pass in.
Charlie Runciman was under pressure when he receives this pass from Reece Hambury. As soon as he passes that ball, Rhys Evans is in his eye line. There was space on the edge. But Dennis Bett, well, he'll be a coach. Once the players get onto the field, that's it. What you've done in the training during the week, preparing the players. But for the 80 minutes they're out there, they're in control of their own destiny.
Who'd be a coach? Well, you can ask Kieran Cunningham all about that this week.
Move! Go! 1.
At 29 months, I think I'm right in saying, at St Helens.
2. Move!
But they will go into the derby match tomorrow with 3 men in charge. Jamal Ladisi, Sean Long and Derek Traynor in control of the situation at Wigan. Here,
Hold!
Warrington in possession with Ashton Sims. Gerrard first to him. The substitute.
Goal 4.
Clear, isn't it, for Warrington? They're staying in the middle of the pitch, almost from one goal mouth to the other goal mouth. They run straight and hard, and then later in the set, they'll look to play perhaps with a kick into the corner. Very conservative from them. They're not throwing a lot of passes. They're not moving the ball from side to side. Just trying to blow down the hole of this in the centre of the Widnes team.
They seem to have stripped the game back, don't they, Warrington? Warrington of all would throw the ball from one side to the other, try and play around teams once they get that quick play the ball. But the first few carries, maybe the first 3-4 carries, straight up the middle before they look to go wide.
Goal 3.
Good flying tackle from Julien on Alex Gerrard.
Good line speed from him. Hits nice and low, hits underneath the ball. He's involved in that tackle again, the Frenchman.
Houston goes without the ball this time, and he's saying the ball was knocked out of his hands.
just to build on the point that the lads have made during this game, that Warrington, when they're coming away from their own line, they're not forcing the issue, they're trying to build some energy, conserve it, knowing that when it's time to defend, they'll have the energy and the enthusiasm. Widnes seem to be expending a lot of energy, they're making mistakes, they're doubling up on efforts because of the penalties they're giving away.
Well, they're desperate to avoid a third successive home defeat, our Widnes. They have conceded 80 points in the previous two to Castleford and Salford. They've only scored 10 of their own. This will help them. That ball went backwards. This is the free play, so they can chance their arm maybe, as Armstrong takes it forward.
Well, let's see how much energy they've got. There's the mistake from Toby King. Now it's their time to defend.
And Joe Mella gets Widnes over the halfway line. The youngster Johnson was the dummy half. He looks for the big men to take it forward, and Gerard obliges, takes it forward 10 metres. Houston is the man expecting the pass from Danny Craven. Houston then gets the ball at the play the ball, then dumps it down a little erratically, but it's picked up by Johnson. He then releases Chapelhow, but not for long before the Warrington defenders close in. Mella, can he produce something? Nice flat pass. Hanbury claiming was he that he was taken out. This is Johnson again. That was played up by Julien. This will be 6 to go if Widnes get it to it first, and they do. 6 to go. So a chance here then for Matt Whitley. Now for Widnes, holding down by Chris Hill.
We're going to talk about this pressure now here, Eddie. We're taking the chance of them, Matt Whitley. His urgency to get up and play this ball, he's just been impeded by Chris Hill.
Well, last time they received a penalty, they put it down after about 2 tackles. So Widnes, their first option is to keep hold of the ball. And Mella trying to do exactly that and trying to duck underneath a couple of challengers. Can't do so. Johnson is in there at dummy half. Craven waits and gets it. Craven then gives it to Hanbury. That's a good hit.
It was a good reading defence, wasn't it, from Gidley?
Runciman. Back it comes to Craven. Craven then gives it once again to Chapelhow, but 3 men there, no way through for him.
They can't get him on his back, he's such a big man.
Johnson. Flat pass. Oh, and almost a stretch out of the arm by Craven, but it would have been a double movement possibly. Dab to the in-goal area, and Ratchford taking no chances. Concedes the goal line dropout.
Well, it was a good line from Danny Craven, wasn't it? He came onto a cross ball, and young Jordan Johnson, the 19-year-old from Cumbria, just steps out, just steps back then, buys a bit of time, drops it onto his boot. Nice weighted kick to Stephen Ratchford. Well, as you said, not taking any chances here.
Come on, Brad!
So goal line dropouts as we have hit the 29th minute. And Warrington needing some running repairs on Brad Dwyer.
It's a big test for Brad Dwyer and his conditioning. He's going to have to play big minutes tonight. Normally gets spelled with Darrell Clark.
What's his first name, Barry?
Black.
Warrington muscling up well in defence. Conceding the early try, fighting back though, leading 10-4. Runciman off the ground, gives it then to Tom Albison. Harassed by Hill.
2, move! Wait, goal 2.
And the young hooker, Johnson, looks for the runners.
He's given the side some punch, hasn't he, Alex Gerrard? Look how quick those play the balls are.
Here's Joe Mella again. That's the ball back. Chris Bridge. What would he give for a try tonight against his former club? And a decade at the Warrington Wolves. Glorious decade it was as well. Albison takes it forward. Well, tackle number 5. They've got through the set. That's the important thing for Widnes. Can they get something other than just a repeat set? They're going to get a penalty. Surely. They are for a high shot.
Was it Joe Philbin?
It was Joe Philbin round the neck.
Yeah, the substitute's just a lunge on the halfback. That's the danger of any halfback who runs at the line. He pumps the ball as though nobody's going to pass it, and all of a sudden he looks to take him on.
Well, 2 or 3 penalties on the run now for the Widnes Vikings, as Albison takes it forward again. Johnson, they're 3 metres away, fires the pass back. Here is Craven again, and he's scratched to the floor by Jack Jones.
Hold!
And Johnson is the dummy half, they're 10 metres away. Chapelhow takes it forward. Good tackling low down by Dwyer. He was on his haunches not long ago receiving treatment. Craven goes wide and finds Mellor. Mellor short ball. And it was asking a lot because the defence had moved up very quickly. Patton was first there and Atkins wasn't far behind. Now Chapelhow again. Turns, gets the ball away. Oh, good hit by Rhys Evans on Houston. Very quick out of the line, Rhys Evans. Here's Craven. Mellor again. Puts the kick in. And Rhys Evans to the rescue for the Warrington Wolves.
Well, Rhys Evans did well to recover that. He come down, he shut the play off. All of a sudden, Joe Mellor flashes back that blind side, thinking that there's going to be space where the winger should have been, but he comes back and rescues that situation.
Here's where Warrington needs some fresh players to get involved. Players who've just entered the field. So Andre Savelio taking the first one. The centres, the wingers getting involved, and the captain, he'll always take the charge forward.
And of course they're doing it tough just at the moment without Matty Russell. I wonder whether their interchange tonight will be affected. Is he coming back, Angela Powell?
The quick one answer there, Eddie, is no. He's not passed his concussion test, and Kevin Brown, as you know, had a head injury as well a couple of weeks back, and he's not made it back onto the pitch either. So bad news for them all around, Warrington Wolves.
Well, this is the incident, and it was a real clash of heads, wasn't it? A total accident.
Charlie did well to come as well, didn't he?
He did. That could be the end of Matty Russell's Easter, as far as the Super League is concerned. Oh, and you shouldn't relax like that. It's a knock on. And so play on, and goodness, they conceded a few metres then because Whitley couldn't take the ball in. And then a little lackadaisically just tried to hack the ball away. Julian gets it offloaded though to Gidley. Gidley found Patton. Patton finds Savelio.
Move!
Got to make sure you switch on with him. Very good footwork at the line. Always looks to offload the ball.
Harvey Levette's on as well with Jack Hughes.
3. Move!
Well, Dwyer got a brief break, I think, Brian.
Savelio goes away to Patton. Ball from him to Rashford. Here is Atkins. Atkins gets the pass back brilliantly to Lynham.
4.
And Lynham is halted 11 metres shy. 4 gone. Julian again. Patton. George King, you have a go then, says Declan Patton. They've reached tackle number 5. What can Warrington get from this? What will their reward be? Rashford with a short pass to Atkins, who scores. Or does he? Well, the pass looked marginally forward. You can't rule
just checking
on
he didn't drop it, please.
And they're just checking whether he dropped it or not from 50 metres away. The impression is he didn't. But of course it's all down to James Child, video referee, to make his mind up. Stuart?
Well, again, from our view, it looked like he'd got over cleanly. Phil Bentham's a bit closer, and that's what he's seen. He's seen the ball come out, and he's seen the ball knocked on in the field of play. So I think it's just the tackle going in, just dislodged the ball as it's coming out, so that'll be classed as a knock-on. It will be no try.
And the fact is that, okay, he might have got his arm back on the ball, but it came out of the hand, so it can't be allowed.
No, it's come out of the hands, it's come out of the hand short, it's hit the ground, that's a knock-on, this will be no try.
Great work from Chris Bridge, in it. He puts himself where the action is. Does his best. Is it enough?
No try it is.
Similar incident in the grand final of last year, which probably would have given perhaps a victory for Warrington in that match, but Atkins lost the ball. I think there were 5 winger defenders hit him in the grand final. It's taken 2 men from Widnes to save 4 points. And the Vikings have been hoping that they can pretty quickly get to the other end of the field, but getting there has been difficult.
They've done incredibly well, you know, to defend 3-4 sets on their own line and be under all that stress as the Wolves were, to then go virtually 100 metres and challenge and threaten their opposition's try line is a credit. Even though they haven't got the points, they'll remember that and maybe call on it later. Here we go.
Well, that was suicide. This is Harvey Levette.
Yeah, coming out of trouble in yardage sets, you can't come up with an offload like that.
And Warrington looking to make them pay. King gets it to Patton. Short ball then to Julien. Julien trying to run over the top of Christine, making his comeback first appearance of the season for the number 14 for Widnes. Here is Gidley. Gives it to Philbin. Just short. Did he let that ball go? Did he let that ball go, Philbin? Did he think he'd scored the try?
I've got to try.
Oh, he had to try in the field.
Just check the grounding.
Well, it looks short from up here, but it's another close examination coming up by video referee James Child, Stuart.
Well, it looks identical to the one we've just looked at. Phil Bentham, certainly in a good position, thinks there's something happened in the tackle here. Well, he certainly seems short at that point, and I would say nowhere near the line. So that's got to be, I would have thought, if it is on the line, it's got to be a double movement. Certainly, it still looks short of the line to me at that point. Let's see what happens. Is he tackled initially? Well, he's held by the legs and he's held short.
I wonder whether Rhys Hanbury might be penalised for a high shot to the head here.
No, he's going down. That's a double movement.
He's definitely short of the line, and then he promotes the ball after that. I think this will certainly be no try.
It just depends how we restart the game, because Hanbury does go in and catches him round the head, and oh, he's on the deck.
Yeah, he's throwing himself into the tackle. He's trying to dislodge the ball. He's trying to do everything he can, Rhys Hanbury. Joe Philbin, Stewart lands short and then promotes the ball forward.
Yeah, we can see from that angle that the ball ends up on the line. So, you know, James Charles has a decision to make. He'll look at it in normal speed. When you look at it that way, it doesn't look like it's a double movement. It looks like it's all in one movement. So this is the difficulty he's got. We've seen that there's an actual movement of the ball after it's hit the ground, but is it part of momentum? And I would say, looking at normal speed, it should be given as a try.
And a try it is. A try it is. So Joe Philbin gets the benefit of the doubt. Remember, it was handed up as a try. There had to be concrete evidence to turn the try down. But what a mistake from Tom Alberson, was it, who surrendered the ball in his own territory. And Warrington have made him and the Vikings pay with 5 minutes to the half-time siren. Deck Patton then should add the extras, and Widnes will have to score 2 converted tries to get close. Patton makes it 16-4. Joe Philbin's try given on the nod by James Child.
Well, here's the mistake from Tom Alderson. Put his team under pressure, and we watched Warrington Wolves a couple of moments ago handle that pressure, come up with defensive efforts and be strong on their own goal line. And when the Vikings were called upon to do the same, just a nice drop-off play, and Joe Philbin, who started the game on the bench, gets his try.
It was a wonderful line that he cut, didn't he? It was under Kurt Gidley. It was a strong run. Look at that. Holding no prisoners, does he, when he returns the ball?
He doesn't. His 6th appearance of the year. And what's more, he gets reward for the solid run, and he gets a tap on the head from all of his colleagues as well.
And every time you see this youngster, I like the way that he backs himself, or like the way that he runs and goes straight into the defensive line. Gives himself every opportunity of winning that play. Obviously, the way he ran and carried the ball, then he's earned his side a penalty.
Atkins takes it forward there. Warrington looking for more reward as we approach the half-time siren here at Widnes. They're leading 16 points to 4. They were 4-0 down, so they've hit the Vikings with 16 unanswered points in the last half hour or so.
Off the foot.
Gidley finds Livette. Now it's Philbin. Houston stands his ground with Greg Burke.
Goal 3.
Gidley comes to the right-hand side. Hughes halted 20 metres away from the Widnes line. 4 tackles gone. Gidley to Livette. Here is Cervello. Tackle number 5. Expect the kick maybe here. No, Gidley takes the responsibility on himself. There's the kick from Patton. It's a lovely kick too. Oh, well, Patton is claiming the try. Hanbury got the boot to it. They have no try this time on the field. So, I tell you what, James Child's earned his call in the last 5 minutes.
Perhaps he should go and sit in this area of the field. It's all happening in the same place. So we're onside from the kick. So it's just through to the grounding. Does he manage to get his hand on the ball to put downward pressure onto it? He just has to get something on the ball, but I think the ball's kicked away by Hanbury just in the nick of time. Does he get there? The foot's to the ball. It's very close, isn't it?
Very close.
Simultaneous, Stuart.
Well, it's not a simultaneous touchdown. If he gets his hand on the ball, it's a touchdown. But I don't think there's any downward pressure on it at that time. I think Hanbury's probably got his foot to the ball just before he gets the ball on the ground. And given that it's been given as no try on the field, I think the video referee will stick with the on-field decision. I don't think there's sufficient proof to say that that's a try. I think this will remain as no try and a goal line dropout.
No try it is. Declan Patton is mystified. He looks at the big screen, can't believe that has been turned down.
Do you know what you like about Dec Patton? Look, he doesn't play for the penalty, he doesn't dive down on the ground saying he was impeded by defenders. He actually goes through, follows up his kick, puts pressure on Widnes. Yeah, they don't come up with a try, but it's another set of 6 here now for the Wolves.
And really, had that try been given, you do tend to think that perhaps it would have been a big mountain for Widnes to climb in the second half.
You're right, Eddie. Instead, it's a big minute. It's a really big moment in this match here now for Widnes to try and hold out Warrington for the remaining this certain set of 6, and hopefully get away from the line. But this ground game again here. He's on fire.
He is. Joe Philbin plays the ball to Gidley. Here now is King. That's George King. Gidley again. Savelio. They're getting very close once more. They're about 13 metres away. And Savelio plays it here to Patton. And Patton goes for a one-pointer. That makes it 13 points. It means Widnes have to score 3 times.
Gets better all the time, Dec Patton, doesn't it? To take control of that situation. I suspect that the way that Warrington was set in attack, they were expecting a play, a pass, to maybe go for the try, but the young halfback just takes the decision. One's better than none. We'll just move our way over to half-time and take that drop goal.
Third drop goal of the season for Dec Patton. 1 against Brisbane in the World Club Series, 1 against Leeds, and 1 here tonight.
I've said it before, Dec Patton and George Williams will be the half-back combination for England in the not-too-distant future.
Here goes Philbin again on a solid run. And the thing that drop goal probably ensures is that Warrington will end this half with the ball in their hands.
And it puts a bit of doubt in Widnes' mind as well, doesn't it? How valuable is Kurt Gidley here? Man who's got the ball. Plays 7-6, full back. He's filling in at 9 now.
Here's Patton, the hero of last week, man of the match. And he's just slotted over that 1 point that could easily be crucial come the end of this match. And then what will Patton do here? He'll just pump the ball into touch on the far side. They will stroll their way to the scrum, I think, both sides. He's a talent, isn't he?
Lovely. What a great decision. Lovely stuff. And they've still got plenty in the tank of Warrington. And I know my mates in Castleford will be screaming at the TV saying, what about Luke Gale? Well, what about a contest between Luke Gale, George Williams and that man on screen there, Dec Patton? What an international battle that would be, and I'm sure it would bring out the best in all 3 players. But for now, Dec Patton, I believe, is bringing out the best of Warrington.
Yes, we have some candidates at last for 6 and 7 in the England national team. There's the half-time siren. This will be the last tackle of the half. Down he goes. The referee has heard that siren. We all did. And so Tony Smith's men turn round, leading by 17 points to 4. 13 points. His best. First mistake of the night, really, by Kurt Gidley, that.
Well, Widnes have not had much luck. They've been under pressure themselves. The ball goes out again. Stephen Mice had to jam in. They were short on numbers. Levette looks to throw that ball to Stephen. Ratchford, who in turn looks for the space outside to Rhys Evans, but it's not a clean pass for him. Under pressure from Widnes.
Did I say the first mistake by Kurt Gidley?
Yes.
I think I did.
Yeah.
First mistake by
Moves forward, heads
Stephen
in.
Ratchford.
You're desperate to give him a mistake, aren't you? Kurt Gidley. He's in a difficult spot there, really, Stephen Ratchford. Normally those types of passes, if they're only short ones, you have a good chance of them being accurate, but the longer they are in the air, and obviously he was too far up, was the winger, Rhys Evans, to collect it. But Widnes doing the hard stuff, doing the tough yards, trying to get away from their own line.
They are with Bridge, and he gets the pass away beautifully. Johnson evades one tackler, evades two tacklers, and then slips the ball. That's good stuff from him. He found Greg Burke, and Greg Burke was picked up by the defenders.
Oh, he's a strong player, Jordan Johnson. He's got a whack in him in defence as well.
Mellor, well, they've been watching Joe Mellor very closely tonight. Craven got the pass away to Alex Gerrard. The injury kept him out of the first 7 of the season. And Craven once more. Left-footed to the corner. It's high. The chase is to come. Oh, how about that? How about that from Ratchford?
Didn't he do well? He looked like he got it all wrong then, Stephen Ratchford. This is good line
stuff.
Yeah. Said in the first half we commented how good he is, how intelligent he is. Look at that for a one-handed turn.
And under pressure as well. It wasn't bad, was it?
He's off balance. He's got his arm straight. I'd only give him more points if his eyes are shut. He's a terrific player, and his side are in a commanding position now. And the defence on the right edge of Warrington are getting up really quick. Joe Mellor, he takes the decision to come back inside, and that's happened all night. And mess up at the play of the ball.
Yes, but it was off the ankle. Julian dummy half, Ratchford kicking right down the middle, and Stephen Marsh picks it up for the Widnes Vikings.
Well, hanging in here now in this arm wrestle, it's gone end to end with this, aren't they? They're just looking for perhaps a penalty to give them the chance to attack again, but they need that off-limb play. You commented on it a moment or two ago, Eddie, about when they offloaded the ball and supported. There was run from Johnson and then Greg Burke. I think that second phase is the best hope of breaking down. There it is.
That's a nice offload this time from Reece Hanbury. Managed to get it away to Danny Craven. There's Johnson again. Houston. Flick pass from him. That's obviously been the message from Dennis Betts. Try the offload if you can. Had 2 or 3 on the run.
Yeah, Eddie, but make sure they control offloads. Only give the ball to a teammate who's in better position than yourself.
Bridge goes back in field and finds Chris Dean. Dean then gives it width and finds Craven. Craven will attack the defence. And slips the pass off the ground again. Craven in support. Here is Stephen Marsh through the would-be challenge of Rhys Evans, but there are plenty of numbers in reserve for Warrington. Last tackle we've reached. Left-footed. Now then, this is a race. Tom Armstrong. He couldn't get above the taller man. And Tom Lynham's pretty good in the air.
Yeah, he did well to catch that, didn't he then, Tom Lynham, under pressure. If you're critical of witnessing that passage of play, they needed more players pushed up in support. When the ball went from right to left, there was too many of them just stood in the same spot, not offering themselves to the ball player.
And it might be as a consequence, there's the high kick and the take from Tom Lynham. We're only guessing that Dennis Betts has said, offload the ball, let's test and challenge them. Sometimes as a player, you're more intent on getting the offload away as you are when the offload comes, hitting the accelerator like we saw Zach Hardacre do last week when he was playing for Cass against Wigan and exploiting that space.
The kick is over the head of Stephen Marsh. It will run dead in goal. It's a tap on the 20, so 7 tackles coming up for Widnes here. And getting a bit too much length on that kick.
Well, the Vikings have certainly had the best 10 minutes of the match. They haven't scored any points in this. They've been competitive, they've been more control, and that variety of keeping the ball alive and moving it around is testing Warrington's defence even more. But it's a test for them, isn't it, now, to push up, support, and gain ground.
Well, their only try tonight in the first minute from Stephen Marsh came as a result of a mistake. Try and create something more, and that's what they're doing there with Bridge, who got the ball away to Christine.
Well, Danny Craven now the number 32, he's moved into the hooking role now for the Vikings. Jordan Johnson leaving the pitch. So Warrington will have to be alert. His running game, whether it be open play or behind the ruck, could be dangerous.
Quickly takes it forward. That's one for Widnes coming up here. So Mellor puts boot to ball again, looking for Armstrong. This time Armstrong just overran it with the bounce. Oh, I was going to say, could be kind to Joe Mellor, but he came up, hit him right underneath the chin. And it's been that sort of a night for the Vikings.
Well, he was chasing it down, wasn't he? And Tom Armstrong, he's looking to give it back to that man, but the ball bounced back. It's him flush in the chin. If it was a clean bounce, it could have been a try, couldn't it?
Yes, it could.
Nobody in front of him. But it's defensively what they do down here. Again, do they look after the outside backs who, like Reece Evans here, bringing the ball forward, footwork at the line, Stephen Ratchford behind to play the ball.
Levette to Jack Hughes. Houston stood his ground in front of him. He's helped over on the far side by Runciman.
Sorry, they're having a good tussle, those two. Chris Houston, Jack Hughes, a number of times they've collided, met.
Hill goes down, tackle number 5. Another kick maybe from Ratchford or Patton.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
And Patton it is. Hanbury is underneath it. Gidley closed him down well there.
Well, he was looking to offload the ball to Stephen Mice, and there was no space because of that urgency from the Warrington defensive line.
2, move, get square, go, 2.
Stephen Marsh with a little scamper from dummy half.
3,
Widnes need to score next, you think,
go,
for the good of the game, for the neutrals watching. But with defence like that, they're going to find it difficult.
Andres Savelio and Benjamin Julian, not the biggest of players, but they certainly got stuck into Matt Whitley there.
And he felt that, did Whitley.
His head slams on the floor here. Matt Whitley's a very tough and compromising player and doesn't stay down. Watch his head slam down on the floor. I don't think there's anything illegal in this shot. Both players, I've mentioned it before, the French Benjamin Julian, how he hits under the ball. I don't think there's anything illegal in it, but it's just a hefty challenge.
Well, I would have probably an issue with Savelio, whose arms around the head as he takes him to the ground. That sure will be a concern of the officials. His arm around his head and takes him to ground by that.
His head is facing the other way, so that I don't want to take issue with the legality and the laws and the way that the game is governed, but during that collision, during the attempt to put the player onto his back, because at the end of the day, all tackles and plays involved in tackles are trying to disadvantage the opposition by putting the player on the back. I think that's an accident, that.
Well, everyone's had a very good look at it. And the most important thing now is that Matt Whitley is A-OK to carry on.
He's been down a long time, hasn't he? We've got to hope that his head and his neck are both well. The referee's pulling both captains now towards him and speaking to them.
So we're going to have a look at it, all right. We're going to play the ball, but it's on the ball.
It didn't really look like a penalty. I agree with you, Barrett.
I think they're going to have to assess him though. We've seen the signal going out.
And that's a bit of class from Matt Whitley there. He shakes hands, both players given an acknowledgement to one another that there was an accident. They'll go off and have the head test.
He'll be a big loss morning, Matt Whitley.
Well, they are doing it tough with injury.
Sometimes see a breaking play, Eddie, and a lapse in concentration here. It's a touchdown for Warrington, whose defence has been good, but can Widnes find a way through this brilliant defence so far?
5.
Well, Alderson will try. And there's Craven again. Another high kick. Ratchford's out. After it and claims it, but they timed their run, did the Widnes defenders, to perfection on that occasion.
But again, Eddie, the line speed, you can't get bored of getting off the line and trying to pressure Warrington, player onto the back. The dangerous plays like Savelio, again, it's meters after contact. Look at the desire and energy, efforts that they're coming up with when they're returning the ball.
Well, Patton made a great comeback to the Warrington side last week, and Chevelio is doing likewise here tonight. He's missed the last 3.
Get square. Wait. Go. 4.
The last 2 defeats, of course, Wigan against Lee.
5. Move.
He played in.
Hold. Go. 5.
Pattern again.
That's okay.
It seems to be a fairly, I was going to say, predictable pattern by both sides. Get to the end of their set and hoist the kick high, and Hanbury then comes up with the spill.
Well, up until that point, he'd been reasonably good, hadn't he, with the kicks. At a period of times this season where has been under pressure. It's not surprising that when teams play against Widnes, they do test him.
That's just a
concentration's
that's
broken.
just a dead set drop. That his feet wide apart, doesn't allow himself any lateral movement. He's planted and rooted to that ground, and those high kicks are wicked when they change in direction in the air. Puts his team under stress defending the goal line. Hanbury.
And they are defending that goal line from 10 metres out. Here is Ryan Atkins. Mella quickly in there to close him down. Gidley. Oh, it's a knock-on. It's a knock-on by Ryan Atkins.
They've made a couple of errors, haven't they, early on in the sets? Which again won't please the coach, but you get up, you play the ball. Yeah, you've got to find your feet, but you've got to make sure you have full control over that. Another, 5 more players attacking the Widnes line. Another try, maybe put that game to bed.
Well, we, of course, have been with you on Sky Sports from day 1 of the Super League season, and every Good Friday we turn up either at Wigan or St Helens for the big local derby. They would dispute it, of course, in the city of Kingston upon Hull, but a lot of people do regard this as the local derby of the Super League. And tomorrow at midday, a high noon shootout, we'll find out who's top dogs in 2017. Sky Sports 1. Then you have to channel hop to Sky Sports 3 for Castleford and Wakefield, the current leaders, Castleford at 2:15. 2 attractive games tomorrow, Good Friday. This is the first of 5 matches live for you over the Easter holiday. That's a good ball. That's a...
Nearly
Christine's pass is judged forward to Joe Mellor.
Well, Joe Mellor, he goes at the line, his speed, he's the dominant player with Danny Craven behind the play of the ball. You can see his offload, gives it to his teammates.
Very tough ball. It's a line ball, isn't it, Stuart? It's a close one. Phil Benton's in a good position, though.
You know, he's Mr. Reliable, Christine. They've missed him, Widnes, his first game back.
Look at his hand.
It's close. It's close. Phil Benton's right there. It was his call. He made it. Nothing from the side.
So Warrington's head and feet at the scrum, and Gidley, can he hang on to this? No, he can't. He's lost the ball.
Well, that's good pressure from Jay Chappell.
Wants a report from his touch judge. I think if the touch judge saw what we saw, it's a knock-on. And it is.
Well, that's good pressure, isn't it? You get up. But Warrington on the left-hand side, you had 4 defenders marking 1 attacker. So there was bound to be some space. You could see the Warrington players who were on that right edge, they were backing off, they were defending on the heels, they weren't getting up putting pressure on the likes of Chris Bridge, who again, clever player, looks to pass that ball, drops it onto his boot, and Charlie Runciman gets Widnes back into this game.
Well done, Widnes. They've made the last 10 minutes into a grind. It's been a bit scrappy, a bit messy. They might have frustrated Warrington to the point where they start looking at the score thinking, those 17 points are enough to win this game. We don't have to do an awful lot more. Well, Widnes have just reminded them that they need to stay on task.
Well, he had a difficult kick with his first, Chris Bridge, and he's got an equally difficult one with this, his second. But this time he has got the sights in. So Chris Bridge improves the try from Charlie Runciman, who got a try in the cup defeat at Warrington last year, Runciman. And I wonder what's going to happen now. 7 points to gap.
Well, there haven't been many positives for the Widnes supporters this year, but one thing they have been good at is finishing games strongly. They really, in the last 10 minutes, outscored their opponents considerably well, even though at times they've had to come from behind. But they've done it particularly well, and they're hoping now here that Widnes can continue in this vein. The spirit's been there. You saw that with the competitiveness and getting the ball from the scrum, but if they can keep it alive, they might just get an exciting Easter finish.
We might just, and who knows, that Declan Patton drop goal towards the end of the first half might prove so crucial. 7 points is the gap. Widnes, though, suddenly have their tails up, and they're coming forward here with Chapelhow.
Well, as Barry said, the last 10 minutes probably been in Widnes' favour. A couple of mistakes there from Gidley, from Ryan Atkins. They gifted the possession and the position to Widnes.
And Sam Brooks to his feet, plays the ball. Craven gets the ball in to Alberson in midfield.
And Eddie, I'm just trying to work it out. I think Ryan Atkins has left the pitch. I think a head injury may have forced him off the team sheet for Warrington, at least for the time being. So a lot of reshuffling for the Wolves.
Mellor's kick is all along the ground. Bounces very kindly though for Ratchford. Chase is led. By Alberson and Mellor.
And you've got to say, Eddie, that wasn't there in the first half again. Like they're getting up quick into the face, the eye line of Reece Evans, controlling this play.
Well, Dwyer,
the ball in the advantage line, so therefore he gains meters after that play. Again with this man, Chris Hill.
And he makes ground even when he's on all fours, does Chris Hill. This is King.
Teammates and the coaching staff here. Now all of a sudden, from the start, when it was Warrington who were making 10 metres or more every time they ran the ball, it's Widnes who are gaining ground and making it look easy.
Yeah, they're getting a bit excited, the Widnes Vikings players and their supporters, as Dodson gets the pass away again. But there's no way through for Chapelhow. He gets to his feet. Johnson is there. Here's the kick now from Craven. High and deep. Good kick too. Ratchford underneath it. Clattered as soon as he received that kick.
Eddie and Jordan Johnson back up for Widnes, so Danny Craven will go into the half, so they'll have two genuine threats now with the ball. The referee's call play for a head injury.
Another head injury, this time to Tom Alberson. Well, they're going down like flies, aren't they, with the head?
I think it happened about 2 minutes earlier. Here's the high catch. Brilliant one there by Ratchford when he attempted to tackle Chris Hill, and he's sort of been running around in the back. Medical staff think he needs to be come off and assessed.
Just move on, fellas.
Coaches do have to
further progress forward by Houston. Solid run again from Alex Gerrard, but dumped to the ground by Ashton Sims. There's Johnson at dummy half. Craven again will go high. That's been the much of the tactics tonight. High kicks, and there's the mistake from Ratchford that Widnes were looking for. It's a zero tackle. Oh no, it isn't. It's offside. Offside, chasing the kick down.
Yeah, he went within 10. He's within 10. Inside.
Inside the 10, says the referee. Someone was inside the 10 metres as the kick came down.
Who's he penalised here? Is it Gil Dudson? He was the man who was talking to the referee, Phil Bentham. Well, the ball goes up, you can see that Jay Chappell stood in front of the kicker, Danny Craven.
He's within 10, isn't he? Even though he didn't play the ball there, he's within 10 metres of the kicker. And he was also in the eye line of Phil Bentham. Phil Bentham spoke to him directly, so he was always going to be looking at it.
Well, the penalty count is heavily in Warrington's favour, 8-3. And they lead 17-10 on the scoreboard where it matters, and they're looking for more here to maybe wrap this game up. It's with Dwyer, who was fed by Sims out of the back. Now it's Julian, Benjamin Julian, and Jay Chappell House snakes out the arm and holds on to him. Dwyer, 6 metres out or thereabouts. Feign to go right, came left. Dean was alert. The arm is free, and they make sure that he doesn't get the ball away. Big Chris Hill is in at dummy half. He then fires it to Patton. Patton to Gidley, quickly on and good hands to Ratchford. And we've reached tackle number 5 again for Warrington. So Gidley has it once more, it goes into the air. Warrington claiming the ball,
Penalty,
but a penalty to Widnes.
Yeah, there was a little nudge on Tom Armstrong. Then Tom Lynham, when the ball was up in the air, Tom Lynham just comes in with a little nudge in the back of Tom Armstrong. Look, you can see, pushes him out the way from catching that ball.
First penalty of this second half for the Widnes Vikings. 66 minutes gone, 26 minutes of the second half have elapsed. Okay, I think we've got some injury news from the sideline. There's plenty to talk about. Angela Powell.
There is, Eddie, indeed. We've already lost Matthew Russell from the Warrington side, and we've just heard that Ryan Atkins, you might have mentioned that earlier, Eddie, will not be coming back on. Neither will Whitley for Widnes, and Alderson is now having a concussion test too. And while all this is going on, I've just been told by a steward that a doctor has been called for a lady in the corner who's heavily pregnant and going into labour by the sounds of it.
Well, it's all happening tonight at the Select Security Stadium. We might have a new baby.
Oh, that's a great call, Eddie.
Yeah, I agree, Phil.
Gil Dudson.
That's helped out, isn't it?
He does have to guess because he can't really tell really from the angle of the referee, but
the arm of Ashton Sims is on that ball all the way through and then pulls it at the last minute. They've had a dig, Widnes. They've had a dig for 15 or 20 minutes.
Best team,
without a doubt.
And they can't go away from it though, can they?
Without a doubt. How important could that drop goal be? Neck pattern just before half-time. 7 points the difference.
It's a Warrington scrum. You wouldn't argue with Ashton Sims, would you, particularly? There's the man who kicks the drop goal. Pardon?
His coach might do if that call goes against him.
It's true. Livette then to take it forward for Warrington.
You know, when you're in a period of the game with just 13 minutes to go, you've got to do what's got you back into the game. The defence has certainly improved. They're getting off the line as a team. They're talking. They're working harder. And Alex Gerrard, the number 16, now involved in this tackle. Looks like he's struggling. Looks like he's limping.
Sims plays the ball to Dwyer. Here they come again with Joe Philbin.
He's been good tonight.
He has played well, hasn't he, since he's come off the bench?
Been strong every time he's carried the ball.
That's the job and the role of a bench player. Change the tempo of the game.
This right-hand side with Jack Hughes. Houston all over him. Last tackle. Is it a kick? Yes, of course it is, from Gidley. Is it a catch? Yes, of course it is, from Hanbury. He get away down the wing. He has a bit of support with him also.
Well taken, Reece Amber. He's been put under pressure in this game. catches that ball, looks to set Danny Craven free. And Widnes need to up the tempo now. Play the game at their speed.
That's what they're trying to do.
Brilliant counter-attacking players. The catch is sensational. Danny Craven takes the ball on the inside. And a further penalty here now to Widnes on the centre spot. If they kick this to touch, as you see here now, Ashton Sims high around the head and neck area is penalised by the referee. And with this kick here now, there's an excitement and certainly there's some nerves amongst the Warrington supporters now.
It's a great kick too. It's within 15 metres of the Warrington line. Runciman will restart. Craven finds Chapelhow. First drive in from the big man to within 10 metres of the line. Johnson, fain to go left, came right. Craven, that's Dodson. This is Mellor. Hanbury, good hands. Well picked up by Armstrong and well watched by Warrington. Bridge goes into dummy half for the Vikings. Mellor again. Short ball to Dodson. Further short it goes. Oh, he was looking for a bit of support there with Gerrard. There was none.
For Joe Mellor, Eddie.
Johnson wide to Craven. And here is Mellor. That's touched by a hand. It's a knock on. I think it's another set of 6 coming up for Widnes, who race to form this scrum.
Well, again, there's some urgency, isn't there? They know that the clock's against them. The offload from Joe Mellor. Chris Hill coming in to effect that tackle. They're looking, they're trying to find space. There's more commitment from the dummy runners in a white jersey now.
Chris Hill with the knock on. Couldn't resist putting the left arm out, knocking it to the ground. So less than 10 minutes to go. Jack Hughes now, the latest man to receive treatment. Looks like ribs though, nothing to do with the head. Breathing deeply, breathing heavily. Thumbs up from the physio. He's okay to go again, is Jack Hughes. Bruising encounter in many ways.
Well, that's what you get from derby games. Players putting the bodies on the line. Who's going to have the bragging rights, not only in the stand but in the changing rooms as well.
So Widnes' scrum, 10 metres from the Warrington line. Dennis Betts will be pleased with this second half, maybe not so pleased with the majority of the first when they're on the back foot. Can they do something here, the Vikings, with Mellor, who gets the ball away to Hanbury? This is Bridge, and that's knocked again by Lynham. They'll bring him back. Tom Lynham was on his way the other end, but it's another head and feed.
He has no option, Tom Lynham, then. He knows he's outstripped, he knows there's a player in space, hugging the touchline in a Widnes shirt, snakes the arm out, bats the ball down, and he's trying to kid the referee. We've got a good finish here, haven't we? Less than 10 minutes left.
Head and feed at the scrum to the Widnes Vikings. They need to score in this next set. Warrington, you get the feeling, just creaking a little bit.
The Widnes can't count, they haven't got enough at the scrum.
So Bridge goes in. Another feed. It comes out to Johnson. There is Craven. Short ball to Gerrard. Gerrard makes a bit of ground forward, but 10 metres away he's pulled down. Johnson waits. Jay Chapelhow will take it forward. So close. Johnson. Mellor. Christine. What would he give? Having come back from a torn bicep in January to score a crucial try here. Johnson trying to prize an opening from dummy half. Warrington defending for their lives. They know this is a crucial set of 6. Mellor finds Craven on the charge. Houston, they got him down. It's the last one. Can Widnes get over the line, or can they get a repeat set? Mellor dabs it to the in-goal area, bounces up everywhere. That's very well done by Harvey Levett.
Oh, he does well, but look at that for defence. Jay Chapelhow gets all the Levett, tries to drag him over.
And Lynham trying to relieve the pressure.
Oh, that's a good one. That's an important carry from Tom Lynham. From that carry from Lynham, look how easy it was then from King on the back of his winger.
Oh, was that a knock on by King at the play of the ball then? The ball bobbles all over the place.
You're right, there's some nerves now in these Wolves players. Harvey Levett with the big play. A good carry from Tom Lynham, and the Warrington side just trying to get as far away from their own line as possible, being put under all kinds of pressure by Widnes.
And great game management again from Dekpan.
They finished that set well, didn't they then?
One end of the field to the other have gone here.
Yeah, again, Eddie, the first couple of carries of Barry's already talked about. Tom Lynham carries that ball strong, he makes valuable meters. The next carries after that far easier.
Well, Widnes might not where they want to be in the league at the moment, but I'll tell you what, the team spirit and commitment's there. They've rushed to form this scrum. They're enthusiastic. Some of the players aren't going through, they're not putting the tries or breaking through the opponents as they would like, but I think that there's certainly nothing wrong with it. The commitment that we've seen here today from them, they've been, as I said, in a lot of matches this year. In the second half they've been good. And you say, what would they need better? Well, having the first choice hooker would certainly help. Even the second choice hooker would help. I'm not taking anything away from George Johnson, who's tried his heart out. But some class and quality around the centre of the field might just help to break through some of this defence that they face tonight.
Well, we're in the latter stages of the first of 5 this Easter holiday. Wigan Saints tomorrow midday, Sky Sports 1, followed swiftly by the league leaders Castleford against Wakefield in the local derby, 2:15 on Sky Sports 3. Then Barry and Terry Reid, all of Easter eggs, will come back on Easter Monday at 2:30 on Sky Sports 2 with Wakefield against Wigan. And just to round the holiday off, Catalan Dragons against Salford in the sunny south of France, 5 o'clock, Sky Sports 2 on Monday. Chapelhow takes it forward for Widnes again. Well, they've gained half the pitch, but this kick will have to be good from Craven. It's not bad, it's another high one, it's hanging, it's going to hit the ground, it could go anywhere.
He didn't want anything to do with that then, Tom Lynham, did he?
No, it was a flapper. It was all over the place. It looked like it was going to go deep. Landed in the middle of nowhere. That's the reason it bounced on this pitch. There's been some good performers. I agree with Phil. When you look at Jay Chapelhow and the stint he's put in.
Well, Houston has given away quite a few penalties tonight in the view of referee Phil Bentham.
And that's what's really hurt them. Where they've given the penalties away, where they've made mistakes. You go back to the first half, where they offloaded the ball, they're putting themselves under pressure, all of a sudden you can see the try from your mistakes or your ill discipline. You take that out of the game and all of a sudden you are in the contest.
This is Julien. Tell you what, the scorelines on Monday will be interesting, because there's a knock-on by Warrington. There is always casualties as a result of the Good Friday programme.
And that's when those fit and healthy teams and the big squads have joy. But look at Christine. Look at him just walking forward, just keeping his left leg in contact with the ball. When Julian gets up, look, he's got a loose carry. He would have lost that ball if it didn't go into Christine's leg. And then Christine just keeps his nerve, walks forward, and Julian loses it.
You don't think Christine played for that, do you?
No. I'm not saying he...
Think it was a pure accident, do you?
It was an accident. If it didn't bounce into Christine's leg in the first place, it still would have been a mistake.
Your nose is growing. Rhys Hambury wants to get on with it quickly. Houston again tries to ride the challenge. Johnson is the dummy half.
5 minutes.
And Dodson smuggles the ball back to Johnson in the tackle. It was Mellor. Mellor then says to Chapelhow, go on, you have a go. 5 minutes or thereabouts to the end of this match. Warrington 7 points to the good. Mellor gathered in first of all by Ashton Sims, finished off by Harvey Levett. Johnson to Gil Dodson. Dodson trying to get around Philbin. He gets the ball away. Craven wide. Runciman out wide to Stefan Marsh. Scored the first try of the match. Will he get the last one? No, he won't. Craven again. Familiar game plan. High kick. Ratchford's been confidently safe under those all night. And here he goes. Here goes Stefan Ratchford. Important tackle by his opposite number, Rhys Hambury. Well, Warrington can't push people out of the way. And Patton and Chapelhow are not the best of mates for a moment.
Well, I'm not sure Dick Patton has to get involved with that play then. The players all come together.
It's a penalty. Rhys Hambury deliberately slowed Stefan Ratchford down. But you're a Widnes fan, and I'm not promoting this kind of play in any way, shape or form, but if you're a Widnes fan, you're happy that your team's in the fight in this game, because after the first 15 or 20 minutes, it could have gone drastically wrong, and there you go, Dick Patton picking a fight with the biggest bloke on the pitch.
Well, I think it starts a bit with Stefan Ratchford thinking that his leg's put in an awkward position here.
He's trying to play the ball, Tess.
But you can see him there, all of a sudden he lets out a squeal, and then he's trying to push Reece Ambury off him.
Didn't he have a bad experience in a grand final a few years ago where his leg was badly injured? I think it was a game against Wigan, and maybe flashback to that game for Stefan Ratchford. He missed a long time after that game, left the field in the grand final, and his team went on to lose it.
Well, Reece Ambury isn't grabbing the foot and turning the foot.
That incident's been put on report. What's been put on report is the incident behind play, because adding to all that, Phil Bentham had a collision in back play. I think it was with Huston, knocked him to the ground, so he was still recovering his ground when this incident happened.
All right, so perhaps the referee didn't see that clearly. So it's not this that's on report, it's the
That's a
collision.
penalty. He's got the penalty to Warrington for that incident, but the collision in back play has been placed on report.
Oh, okay. Well, the way it's gone this year, any collision with the referee, any touching of a referee results in bans in 2017. So you think you said it was Houston, Stewart, he might be in a bit of hot water. Meanwhile, this is Chris Hill. Is this it? Oh dear, yes. Well, I tell you what, I've seen a few tackles not as ferocious as that.
Did Phil Bentham break his leg?
He did at Wigan.
Yeah.
And then McDonnell.
And it's a high shot here, so there is going to be 2 points on the board, I think, for Warrington. Just to finally sort this out. Dudson right round the neck of Andre Savelio. Well,
it is a big hit.
Will that feature in the big hits this week?
Will I get in trouble if I put it in?
Well, you've given everything else that's illegal over the years, so why not have a go at that one?
Well, you don't condone any player coming into contact with referees, obviously, but when you're defending, someone breaks the line, you're looking for, you know, where that player's running. Poor old Phil Bentham straight in front of him as Tony Smith and Lee Braze on the sideline. No, with this kick now, it's mission accomplished.
Yes, this will be 2 points for the 2 points, no question. I have a degree of sympathy with Chris Houston because he's trying to get in the defensive line, and there was Phil Bentham in front of him, and I suppose you should take a bit more care, but as somebody I think said, what do you do? What do you do if you're Chris Houston? Anyway, Patton will add the 2 points from the penalty, and Warrington have won for the second game in a row. Chris Houston on report, and players with head knocks, bumps and bruises to get over before Monday, but if players haven't returned because of concussion here tonight, I don't think they are allowed by the rules to come back within 7 days. Runciman has collected the short kickoff.
Well, they've got something to build on at least now, Widnes, after the second half performance. It's going to be tough against Leeds Rhinos though on Monday.
Oh, there's a high shot from Hill, and the referee spotted that.
And well, the referee saying it's just the same as the other end. Nice shot, the footwork from Joe Mellor. Chris Hill comes in over the top.
And that ball's come free, and that's a penalty again for Widnes. It's not been a points fest, this, has it? Widnes had scored the fewest tries of the season coming into this match, 21, as Dudson takes a quick tap and goes for the line. And Warrington before the game weren't much better. They'd only scored 22. Widnes had got 119 points in Super League against their name. Warrington 125. So it hasn't been a points fest. It's been a bit of a slog. It's been a bit of an arm wrestle. But Warrington will not be concerned about that.
Well, you look to pick up 2 points, don't you, Eddie? In these games with the mistakes there from Widnes. And over just 8 days, you could find yourself picking up, Warrington could find themselves picking up 3 wins that propels them right up the table.
Absolutely.
So it is a good period. I know that there's some people who know I love the Easter period. You turn up, you play on Thursday or Good Friday, then you back it up on Monday. And it's the third game that normally gets teams, because you know that you've got that short turnaround and you've got to play. But I love this period.
Well, some people, rather unkindly, Terry, would say no sense, no feeling, of course, when you make remarks like that. Well, Dennis bets his team are cut adrift at the foot of the table at the end of this first match of the Easter holiday. That's the last tackle of the game by Alderson. And the Warrington coaching staff shake hands, and Joe Philbin takes the hand of his coach Tony Smith, and the Warrington supporters celebrate their second win in as many matches. It was a little bit predictable at times. It wasn't a classic, but a win is a win, he will say. I'm sure of that, the start that they've had to this campaign. Only one try in the second half. That was from Widnes and Charlie Runciman. Patton with the crucial drop goal, and the coaches exchange a word or two. Tony Smith will be delighted. That's 5 points in the last 3 games.